For months now, the British government has had the names and the details of children who have the right to be here in the UK. But they tell us because the French haven't told them about them, they don't know about them. I don't think that's right. When 18 of those 178 children have gone missing, I think we have a responsibility to find those children and make sure the other 160 are here safe in the UK. Today I got up in Parliament and I told the Prime Minister about that, so she can't pretend she doesn't know about those children. But please help me hold her to her promise, because she didn't acknowledge the 18. Make her do something to find those 18 children and keep all the kids who have the right to be in the UK safe now. That's why we need Dubs. The reason why we're fighting to safeguard these children is that they don't just need somewhere safe to stay. They need a plan. They need someone to look after their health, their welfare, to get them into education, to get them back on track in life so they can be all the amazing things they could be before they had to flee their countries. We're fighting right now to extend safeguarding legislation from the UK across to the children in Europe under the Dubs Amendment, and we've got amendments in Parliament to try and make that happen. There are lots of local councils and councillors around this country who want to do the right thing, who want to help these children, to safeguard them. But we need the government to put in place the process to get them here and to put in place safeguarding for every child, so that it doesn't matter whether they're in Calais or Kent. If they need our help and they have a right to be here, we look after them. A lot of people have asked me about the decision to extend airstrikes from Iraq into Syria and how that relates into the refugee crisis and what's happening in the Calais camps. And one of the things I think is really, really important is not to confuse the two, because there are very few Syrians in the refugee camp in Calais, and one of the things about dignity is treating people as individuals and seeing them for them. The people in that camp, they're from Afghanistan, they're from the Sudan, they're from Eritrea, they're from Ethiopia. They face religious persecution, political persecution, conflicts in their home countries. We shouldn't turn our backs on the difficult situations they're in their home countries because we're concerned about what happened in Syria. Now, I supported the airstrikes in Syria because there wasn't a good and a bad choice to be made. There was only a difficulty about how do we deal with the impact of Daesh and how do we deal with Assad and Putin and the work that they're doing in Syria. That conversation goes on. We have been able to degrade ISIS and Daesh, and it is making a difference on the ground. But we also need to tackle Russia, and we need to tackle Assad too. But we also need to see the people in Ethiopia who are staying in those countries, see the people in Sudan fleeing from conflict there, and ask ourselves, how do we live in a world where people live like that if we don't reach out that hand of humanity and say, how can we help? We've got to do that with communities, we've got to do that being prepared to stand up to a bully, which is what Assad is, but we've also got to see every conflict in its own right and not confuse people, because that doesn't do justice to anybody's care. I asked the Home Secretary on Monday here in Parliament whether they would change their priorities and put more money into helping process the claims of these young people to get them here to the UK than into building walls. It's now Wednesday, the 12th of October. I wish I could tell you that I think real progress is being made, but the ministers are refusing to meet with me to tell me exactly what they're doing. So my concerns remain that there aren't specialist places for these children, that there are children in that camp who have a right to be here in the UK today, and the Dubs proposal, which was to allow children who have nobody else in the world apart from us to look after them to come here, hasn't been put into place either. We're 3 days away from when the bulldozers are going to go into the camps. Please, please, please make as much noise as you can to make sure that the government cannot ignore this problem, cannot blame the French, and acts up to the pledge that we made to those children. Stella Creasy MP. Dubs now.